Freddy is back in Dylan's new Nightmare. So, how does this stack up in the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise? We're going to talk about that. But first, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit the like button on this video. Alright, Freddy Krueger is back in a new Nightmare on Elm Street fan film titled Dylan's New Nightmare. This is a direct follow-up to Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Miko Hughes is reprising his role as Dylan Porter, and this time around we have Dave McCrae playing Freddy Krueger. I'll start off with everything that I liked first and then move on to some of the things that I didn't like about the film. The very first thing I notice is that this feels like a Nightmare on Elm Street, right from jump. I mean, it starts off with the opening credits and you hear the Freddy laugh right off the bat, being played by Dave McCrae, of course, who does a fantastic job with the voiceovers on this film. The movie starts off in a casting studio where this camera starts to make its way down a long hallway of actors who are practicing their roles, and Dylan is sitting at the end of a hallway waiting on his turn to go audition for Hatchet 5. The casting seems to be going really well, but then we learn fast that this is a dream sequence when we see the two casting directors kill themselves, but the one in the middle, right away you realize, oh, this is Freddy Krueger. So right off the bat, we get an amazing dream sequence that just feels a lot like Nightmare on Elm Street. And the reason it does is a lot of it is the color of the film. Like, some of the later entries in the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise is kind of strayed away from what made that original so good. And then Wes Craven will come back and do his own New Nightmare and kind of take it back to what it was supposed to be. This movie feels like a great combination of both. You have that feeling of the original Nightmare on Elm Street, and you also have a lot of that Wes Craven's New Nightmare feeling in there, and a lot of that is being done by just the way this movie is colored. Like, we're talking about the lighting in the background, the set dressing, the way the film was edited down. Everything just feels like a Nightmare on Elm Street when you're watching it. Then when you go into the acting side of it, Dave McCrae did a fantastic job playing Freddy Krueger. And one of the ways that you know that is that you actually forget that it's Dave McCrae the entire time. Like, you realize I'm watching Freddy Krueger. This feels like I'm watching A Nightmare on Elm Street. And I think that's the whole point of finding the right person to play the right role. You couldn't have found a better person, Dave McCrae, to play that role. Being that he's a professional actor, professional voice actor, and you could tell he really put everything he had into bringing Freddy Krueger to life. And you could actually see him playing Freddy Krueger in an official Nightmare on Elm Street movie once it's rebooted, which I think at this point, a lot of his fans and fans of just that franchise would like to see at this point, because he pulled it off to perfection. And then with Miko Hughes reprising his role as Dylan, I mean, he already knows the character, you know what I mean? This time Dylan's much older, he's been through a lot, he's in therapy now because of the events of Wes Craven's New Nightmare and what he's going through with his mom. His mom's in a psychiatric institute. You kind of see how all of that has affected the character of Dylan over time, and Miko Hughes brought that to life to perfection. You believed it 100% that this kid was going through a lot throughout the entirety of growing up, and now you get to see that into his adulthood. You see that fear of Freddy still lives inside of him. And also, I think the chemistry between Dave McCrae and Miko Hughes was perfect. Like, they really complemented each other. You could tell that the character of Dylan really feared Freddy even as an adult, and you could tell that Dave McCrae playing Freddy really knew how to bring that fear to life. And so it was just really good performance, really good cinematography, really good color. I'm definitely not a movie reviewer, just giving like what my opinion is as a fan watching the film. For me, some of the things that were missing from the movie were like some of the scare factor. The dream sequences are great, the coloring was great, the acting was great, but I think they could have went back to the original Nightmare on Elm Street a little bit in terms of like the scare factor and kind of going a little deeper into those dream sequences. I wish the dream sequences were longer. I wish the set changes would have happened a lot more to make you feel like you were in the dream. But other than that, that part of it was great. My only real gripe with this movie is that it ended too abruptly with no real cliffhanger to me. Like that, I know the whole concept of Heather Langenkamp calling Dylan at the end was supposed to be the cliffhanger, but it just, something was missing. Like, it just didn't feel like it was going to end right there. It was just kind of, I just felt like there could have been a much bigger build up to the cliffhanger, you know? There could have been more interaction between Dylan and Freddy toward the very end, and then leading to that cliffhanger moment of him getting that call from Heather Langenkamp. I don't know if that was the real Heather Langenkamp calling him, but obviously we're going to get a second film, and hopefully she's in it now that he's got that call. I guess that's maybe what Cecil's trying to tell us, is that maybe for the second one we'll get Heather Langenkamp. That would be great. But I just wish it would have ended on a much better note. It just felt kind of dry toward the end. And that's just me personally. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I know there's going to be a lot of people who loved every second of the film. For the most part, I did love every second of this short film. I just wish the ending would have been a little different. But like I said, I'm not a movie reviewer. That's not what I do. So I'll end it there. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think that Dylan's New Nightmare was a worthy follow-up to Wes Craven's New Nightmare? What do you think about Dave McRae's performance, Miko Hughes? What do you think about the direction that they went with Dylan's New Nightmare? How did you feel about the way it ended? How did you feel about the dream sequences? This is definitely something I want to see in the comments for sure.